This is a list of insane things that society just accepts. Starting off at number one, parrots and ravens having the ability to talk. So basically, we've probably all seen those videos, and I don't know if you guys knew that ravens could also do this, but they can mimic what humans say. So you guys can search up these videos. Maybe some of you have already seen them. They can mimic back and talk back exactly what a human has basically just said. Now, how is that possible, right? How can a bird, again, birds and humans are very different. How do they have the ability to mimic something back? Like again, the way that they, communicate, they squawk or caw or whatever you want to call it. How do they also have the ability to mimic back what a human just said? Like that to me is insane. It just doesn't make sense. How is that possible? Why is that a thing? I think people got to talk about that more. Like we need an answer on why that's possible. Number two, lightning. Again, extreme weather is very interesting. How is lightning a thing? How does electricity just form in the sky and then shoot down at a spot? How is that possible? Why does it happen? Like, how is that possible? Right? For this list, like I want you guys to think like how and why is that possible? How is lightning a thing? How can there just one day the sky can be clear, blue skies, clear skies. The next thing clouds roll in, whatever. There's thunder, and then lightning. Just you know what I mean, right? And again, what is thunder as well? The fact that we're talking about like thunder, just this like loud, thunderous noise in the sky. What is that, right? And again, lightning just shoots just from randomly just shoots down at the ground. How is that possible? Just electricity out of nowhere, right? Just the way that we understand electricity right now, or at least how I understand it, again, it's like, electronics, you plug something in, there's something that generates electricity, whatever. But how can there just be nothing up there and out of nowhere there's lightning and boom, it just starts striking the ground and just, starting fires and like could kill living things, etc. Right? Number three, speaking of electricity, electric eels. How can eels generate electricity? You know, how can they also be in the water in the ocean and generate electricity but the water doesn't is not becoming electrified? Do you know what I mean? Everybody always says, if you throw, a live wire or whatever in the water's gonna get electrified, whatever, right? But for some reason, electric eels don't do that and they live in the water. Do you know what I mean? And on top of that, does an electric eel generate electricity? How is a living thing just generating electricity? And if you touch it, you're gonna get shocked. Same thing with like stingrays, I guess, right? But I don't know if they generate electricity or if they just like sting you with something else. But electric eels. How does a type of fish or whatever, living in the water generate electricity, right? That to me is crazy. Let's see. Next on the list here, certain animals like reptiles and octopuses being able to change color and camouflage themselves. Again, how is that possible? How can an animal like let's say a lizard, a reptile, whatever, a chameleon, it can be on like a branch and it'll just change its color to match the tree branch or the leaf. How can that animal pick up on what the color is of that thing? Do you know what I mean? And how can it just change itself to that color? How does it have the color palette inside of itself that it just changed itself to it? Do you know what I mean? How is that possible? Same thing with octopuses. Again, you guys should look up these videos on how insane it is. Like they can just sit on a rock or be on like the ocean floor or whatever, and they just camouflage themselves to the color of their surroundings. How is it possible? How do they know what color to change to? Like how do they know, right? And like some again, when you look in like some of these again these animals are in the jungle, the forest, whatever. There's so many different types of colors and different shades and stuff, right? Like how did they know how to change to it, right? Right? Like again, how and why? And again, why is that a thing? How have they developed that ability, right? And some people will talk about evolution. Some people will talk about God, whatever. Right? Again, I am a religious person. I believe in God. Like, why is that a thing? Why did God make it like that? And if you don't believe that and you're saying it's evolution, how did they evolve to do that? Right? I don't know. Boggles my mind. Right? Very interesting. Number five here, tornadoes. I can understand hurricanes. I can get, I get that. Strong wind, whatever. But tornadoes, they just like again, look up a video of a tornado just spinning in circles in that spiral shape, and they just go wherever, just destroying everything. How is that a thing? How does it just get into this circle? How and why is that a thing? Um, Again, yeah, just again, maybe there's some there's gonna be some nerd probably watching this going, oh well, technically it's because of this. Like I get that, right? There's probably some scientific explanation, but again, why, right? Again, like I said before, with these things that I'm listing, ask why. Why is that a thing? Why is the tornado a thing? Why is that part of nature? Right? It's just mind boggling. What else? Number 6 here, Antarctica. There is an entire massive continent on Earth that we cannot freely go to. And I know scientists can go there to do their experiments and whatnot, but they stay in like one area, right? Why has nobody ever just decided, hey, let's do a massive journey just across Antarctica, right? What's there? Let's start digging a hole in like the middle of Antarctica, see what's there, right? And I love watching those conspiracy theories about Antarctica, where it's like, there's all these communities. There's frozen civilization underground. There's people living underground. There's this. There's pyramids there. Whatever. Like there's a legitimately a massive continent on Earth and we just haven't like really done like full on exploration there. That's just crazy to me, right? And I get it. Obviously, extreme weather. It's frozen. It's like negative. 60, 70 there. I get that, but it's like us as like a civilization. Like we haven't ever decided, hey, let's put together some money, again globally, and let's go there and just fully try to uncover what's been there. Like, you can't convince me that there's nothing under the ice. Like, there's got to be something there. I'm not saying it's a civilization or anything, but there's got to be some sort of animals that used to live there or something, right? And last one here, number 7, dreaming. And the fact that animals can also dream. Like, why do we, humans and animals, why do we dream? Why is that a thing? Why do we need that, right? Obviously, sleep is very important, obviously, for overall health, but why do we dream? Why is that a part of human existence? What's going on there? Why are we having those because like, again, you could just say, okay, well, we need to rest, we need to sleep. Why do we need to have these vivid movies, vivid pictures in our brains while we sleep? Why is that a thing, right? And again, from my understanding, dreaming is very important. It shows that you're getting like deep sleep, etc. But again, why is that a thing? Why do we dream? What's the purpose behind that? And again, we can look at it from the religious angle, the evolutionary angle, right? So from the religious side, again, why is that? Why would God make it that we dream and we're able to dream? What is the message, the purpose behind that? If you look at it from the other angle, the evolutionary side, why would humans have developed that ability? Again, if you're not religious and you just want to look at it from a scientific standpoint, why did humans evolve to develop that capability to be able to dream? What is the purpose behind it, right? And for a lot of us, certain dreams you remember, certain dreams you don't. Why is that the case? Why can't we always remember exactly what we pictured, right? Why is it that most of the time we forget what we dreamed, right? Right? Again, I look at this from the angle of why. Why is that a thing? And again, I think that's just insane. You picture these things in your brain while you sleep, like basically a movie, and then you forget about it. Like, why? When we just get, hey, that's part of life. Or again, why is it? Why do we do that? But yeah, that's the list for today. Just says 7 things there. List of insane things that society just accepts. Again, did I miss anything? Does anything else come to mind? Again, please put it in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. But as always, thanks for watching, liking, subscribing, and God bless every single one of you.